Design Lab. We're thrilled that you're joining us today to learn more about how we're transforming one of our top summer programs for high school students into our virtual campus. My name is Ariana Wilson, and I'm the Director of Pre-College Programs at Tufts University's University College. As we all know, this has been a very difficult few months for all of us, and with that in mind, we wanted to take this time to show you that even though our platform must change, we're still excited to bring you the award-winning academics of Tufts University in our pre-college virtual campus this summer. I'm here with my pre-college teammates and those from the School of Engineering who I'll let introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Tara Pope. I'm the Marketing Director for Pre-College Programs here at Tufts, and I'm responsible for getting the word out about all of our exciting summer programs. I'm excited to be here with all of you today, and we are ready for your questions as we dig into our Engineering Design Lab Intensive Pre-College Program.
Hi everyone, my name is Sally Kim, and I am the Program Administrator for Pre-College Programs responsible for managing the Engineering Design Lab Intensive, the Mini Med School Coding 101 intensives, as well as the Tufts Summer Research Experience. I'm looking forward to taking you through our program and all the details today.
Hi, my name is McGee Shalhoub. I'm the Program Administrator for Tufts Center for Engineering Education Outreach, part of the Tufts School of Engineering. I'm responsible for overseeing the virtual pre-college Engineering Design Lab experience this summer.
Hey everybody, great to see so many folks on this afternoon. My name is Meredith Portsmore. I direct the Center for Engineering Education and Outreach in the School of Engineering. And so we do lots of great work in kindergarten through college education. And so I lead the work putting this all together. So we're thrilled you're here today so that you can learn more about it.
Thanks, guys. We are happy to have you all here today and excited to share with all of our students and families what we have to offer in the Engineering Design Lab. We'll begin today by giving folks a brief overview of how our virtual campus will work and what programs updates we've made. Then we'll take you through the program highlights, as well as the exciting virtual social engagements we have planned for these sessions. In addition, we'll share details on our application process, deadlines and policies, etc. And if you have questions through the presentation, you're welcome to post them in the live Q&A section of your screen. We'll answer as many questions as we can during our session. And if we don't get to our session question, we'll answer you after the open house via email.
Great, thanks, Ariana. And as you prepare for your summer 2020 virtual campus experience with us, we want you to remember, even though our programs all need to move online this summer, you can still expect the same world-class academics that you would with any course or program at Tufts University. As well, thanks to our virtual campus and online tools, you'll still be able to develop those lifelong friendships with peers from around the globe. Our faculty, staff, and pre-college team have made it our priority to transform these programs, including the same engaging content students and parents alike would expect from a summer program at Tufts. And the best part, you can do it all from the comfort of your own home, from anywhere in the world, live on your screen.
Now let's dig a little bit deeper into our Engineering Design Lab Intensive, which is a 2-week program with 2 sessions. You can choose from either our first session, which runs from July 12th through July 24th, or our second session, which runs from July 26th through August 7th. Now, I will hand it over to our CEEO counterpoints, McGee and Meredith, to review the program highlights.
Thanks, Sally. So we're excited to bring this to you this summer. We've been doing a lot of online learning in the School of Engineering, and so as we brought all our classes online, we are really prepared to do this piece. We're looking for folks who are rising sophomores through seniors. So you need to be at least 15 to get started with us. And we really are trying to give you that engineering experience delivered to your doorstep. So students will have the opportunity to hear from faculty and industry experts talking about engineering, look across different kinds of engineering, as well as working on really hands-on challenges. So We know that folks who are interested in engineering like to get their hands dirty, and there is lots of that. So you guys are going to dig into robotics and computation. So there's a lot of work in terms of sensors and motors. You get shipped out a kit of materials that's yours to keep. To learn about different ideas. We're starting to dig into some of those new topics that are becoming hot: Internet of Things, image processing. We have a couple of different formats, which I'll talk about as we work through the schedule. So that it's not always a video that you're watching, but a lot of interactive thoughts, as well as this format's really great for bringing you all kinds of guest speakers. We can get anybody in the world that we want to talk to come on over to our virtual classroom. So we have folks from academia who are talking about their work in engineering, as well as folks from industry talking about new things happening in robotics and research. So there's a lot of different kinds of things that happen throughout the program. And so you'll be working on some smaller projects, and then we really always try to culminate into something that's a really, a bigger final design project that will, you'll be in small teams, really brainstorming around, of course, building your own things. And, something that can really be something that you can show off, in a portfolio and other kinds of places. So I think the next slide will be great if we can look at the schedule. So what you see here, right, is a lot of what we're thinking about. We're always flexible and responsive as well to tweaks that need to happen along the way. We've done a lot of online learning at Tufts, both this semester, and we actually have a lot of existing programs at the CEO. So we've been doing this for quite a bit, and know good ways to really get everybody involved and have it feel like a classroom and a community. Everything listed here is in Eastern Standard Time, but is recorded so that you can make it work in your time zones. We start off the day with speakers, so really getting you that broad sense. If you're considering a pathway into engineering, you can get a better sense of what these different disciplines are like. If you're not, it's still a great way of kind of seeing this, right? We always think of engineering as a great tool. Lots of folks who go on to be policymakers, leaders of industry, lots of them have engineering backgrounds. And as we progress through the day, we're doing make along, think cook along, but with robots. So we have the kit that you guys get. We use GoPy Raspberry Pis. We're using Python. And so you start to actually build along and make along and program along with the instructors, as well as our awesome TAs. We always have a host of undergrads who are supporting this. So not only do you get to talk to folks, faculty and staff at Tufts, but you're also get to interact with our undergrads as well who serve as TAs for this. So in that first week, right, you see that kind of structure. The make along, you get your daily challenge, something you're going to work along. We don't want you trapped in front of the computer all day, so you can kind of work on that in different challenge times. Of course, the TAs are always available. We have that theme running through after lunch break of robotics engineering speakers. So folks who can really talk about all the kinds of different things that are happening. We're fortunate at Tufts to have folks doing everything from cutting edge AI to folks that are thinking about assistive robotics and different ways robotics can improve our lives. So we'll do that. And then there is kind of daily check-in space where folks are doing things. So that's kind of what week one looks like. And if we go on to week two, our next slide. We really want you guys to have that project time, right? If you think about the way we do undergraduate engineering courses, that's really what folks are working towards across their engineering career, right? They start off building lots of skills and tools that they can use, and then building towards doing more substantive. And folks have a lot of input on those. We're finalizing some options, and then there's always space in there for folks to suggest some of their own ideas for a final project, whether it's prototyping a delivery system for a warehouse, or making a robot that can sense different things in its environment and provide feedback to a user who might not have access or able to sense those things. So all kinds of good stuff. So that gets scaffolded throughout week two, while you're also still getting to meet a ton of great folks. And then that culminates with those kind of final projects and presentations. So that'll be digital, but you'll really have something that's polished and ready to go into a portfolio. This is probably a good place and to hand it back over to Sally, who can talk about a little bit more about this is all the content and engineering that's happened, but to talk about the fun parts, the super fun parts. We think engineering's fun too.
Thanks, Meredith. The undergraduate experience, we realize, obviously, wouldn't be complete without the social aspects of college. So although this summer our socializing will be through screens and through shared virtual experiences, our engineering design lab intensive students will still have the opportunity to get to know other pre-college students from not only across the country, but also from around the world. Our teams are super hard at work to create and build virtual social activities in the evenings and on weekends for students to enjoy and create lasting relationships with their fellow high schoolers. So you could definitely expect things like morning meetups, trivia nights, lunch and learn, wellness clubs, and game nights to also be a part of your schedule after your program is finished for the day. Now, in addition to your online application, this program also requires a transcript, one letter of recommendation, and a parent permission form. Students will also be asked to fill out a brief survey indicating their past experience with basic engineering concepts along with computers. So please submit all of your materials via email to precollege@tufts.edu. And if you cannot submit by email, please reach out to us and we will work with you to find another solution.
With respect to the logistics, deadlines, and policies, currently all applications are due by May 1st, is this Friday. And your course deposits will be due 10 days after you have been admitted in order to reserve your seat. So if you've already been admitted, please make sure to submit that deposit as we have lots of interest in this program. You want to make sure that you lock down your seat. The sooner you submit your application and your deposit, the better. If you're having any problems submitting your application or your supplemental materials or your deposit, please feel free to reach out to us. Or if you have any other policy questions or questions about the program, please visit our website at precollege.tufts.edu or feel free to email or call us at any time. So thanks again for joining us. Because this session is for you and to answer all the questions that you have about the program, we're going to spend the remainder of time answering your questions, as well as some other frequently asked questions about our engineering design lab. We've been taking notes during the session, but please feel free to input your questions in the Q&A tab of your screen, and we'll answer them as they come in.
Great, thanks, Ariana. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We have a couple of questions that I'm seeing so far, but please feel free to fill out the Q&A window or the chat window, either way, and we'll get to your live questions. Some questions that came in earlier were, can I nominate an international student for these programs? And I believe the answer to that is yes, but Ariana or Sally, I'll let you confirm that for me.
Absolutely. If you're referring through the educator nomination process, international students are participate. If you're a school administrator, we can actually click in the chat box. Sally, maybe you want to click in the nomination form.
I actually already sent them that link, so they do have that.
Okay.
I can put that out for everybody though too, if anyone else is interested in nominating someone.
Yes, that would be great. But bottom line is international students are welcome to attend. I don't know if McGee or Meredith, you want to add in anything if this may relate to a question of time zone due to the virtual.
Yeah, I think we're trying to you're definitely gonna have to be flexible if you're international, because we had to commit to a time zone, but there's the speakers are taped, so you could always watch those later. The TAs will also be available in the evenings, so if that works with your timing a little bit better, then we can definitely do that. And instructors are always trying to be flexible and support folks who are there. So I think that just getting the timing down right would be the part for folks. But of course, we understand that some folks will be participating synchronously and live, and some folks may participate in some parts asynchronously by watching the video, and then jumping in where the synchronous parts line up with their day better.
Great, thanks so much, Meredith. So some other questions we're seeing is, what is the selection process like for this program? And Meredith or McGee, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we just want to make sure that folks are serious and interested, and have a background that would support this. I also saw another question about how much coding and engineering experience. We really have a wide range here. We're looking. The selectivity is really just on does your transcript and do your letters show that you're going to be an interested and dedicated participant? Because we're looking to have a cohort of folks who are all really interested and engaged and respectful and interested in doing this to a high level. So in that regard, we're really open and welcoming, but we're trying to make sure that folks are able to do the work and able to participate on that kind of a high level.
Great, thanks so much. And along those lines, could you give some examples of the projects that will happen during the sessions?
Yeah, and of course these have changed a little bit. We ran this in person last summer, and we're doing this summer. You have a robotics kit, you have coding. So I think that some of the programs might be code-based, right? Learning how to create interaction in Python. Some of the projects are more task-oriented. So can you navigate a warehouse, right? Which you might mock up with some black and white surfaces. You could also think about image processing, right? So the camera piece is a part we like to play with. How do you learn to recognize images? How do you learn how to grab data from the web and integrate that into your robot? So like, what does your robot do when it's sunny? What does it do when it's rainy? What does it do if the weather in London is different? So we're trying to give you guys all different kinds of experiences, connecting data with information, and then the kind of programming thinking, right? This is a really great exposure. You're going to see a wide range of topics, and then dig in more for your final projects.
Great, thanks so much. Do we have a sense, Meredith and McGee, could you share a little bit about how many students you usually have in the program, and what's a good number that you're expecting for each section?
Yeah, so typically we have 40 folks, and that's usually a good fun number to have folks do different things, right? So 40 in each of the 2-week sessions. And that allows there to be different groups with different interests and passions, and have enough diversity there. We definitely have some folks who are just starting out in engineering, and so that TAs support that group, and then we have TAs supporting the folks who are may have come with you've been on a robotics team, or you've done some other things in this space, and you want to do a little bit more. So it's really a classroom, right? When you think about online learning, everybody thinks all kinds of crazy things now. When we do online learning in engineering at Tufts, we're really trying to say, how do we do that in-person experience but online? So it's not a formula. It's about interacting with your TAs and saying like, oh, I'm really having trouble with this. How can you help me get through this? I'm really interested in this. Are there any more resources I could do? What would you suggest for a final project? You're a undergrad mechanical engineer, comp sci major. What would you like to do? So So all those things come into play.
Great, thanks so much, Meredith. The next question we have is a little bit about the program fee and the changes in cost due to it becoming a virtual campus. Ariana, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Sure, yeah. The program fee has been reduced due to the change to the virtual campus. Our all-inclusive program was $5,500 with a $250 materials fee. Previously, it's been reduced to $3,800 and a $200 materials fee. I know there's a question about what's in the materials kit that probably Meredith and McGee can answer in a minute, but those have been the reductions because we know it's a significant change from actually being there in person to the virtual campus. Although we are trying, as Meredith mentioned, to translate our in-person experience to a virtual experience sort of seamlessly, as well as getting some of the benefits that Meredith mentioned of being able to talk to experts around the world and having, being able to bring in those resources.
Great, thanks so much, Ariana. And along the lines of that, we also have some questions regarding applying for financial aid and the process around that. Sally or Ariana, do you want to touch base on that a little bit?
Sorry, Tara, could you just repeat the question?
Yes, they were asking a little bit about the financial aid process, applying and when you need to apply for it.
Oh, yes, of course I can answer that. So, to talk a little bit more about the financial aid. So, in general, our financial aid process hasn't changed with the transition to our virtual campus. We still do have some scholarships that we distribute on a need-based, first come, first served basis. Students can apply or indicate their interest for financial aid on their admission agreement form, which will populate in their applicant status portal once they are admitted into a program. If you indicate that you are interested in the financial aid application, within about, I would say, an hour or so, the system will generate a financial aid application for you within the applicant status page. So I would definitely recommend that you go ahead and indicate your interest for that if that is something that you are definitely looking for. We will award scholarships on a monthly basis until all of our scholarship funds have been distributed. And once you have sent in your financial aid application, we will be in touch with you throughout the process regarding the status of your the aid allocation. Once you're accepted into the program, it's important to note that you will still receive automated emails telling you to submit your deposit and to pay your tuition. But if you have applied for a scholarship, you need not pay the deposit until you have heard about your aid. Your acceptance will still stand.
Thanks so much, Sally. And if there's any other questions, feel free to pop them in here or email us at precollege@tufts.edu.
I would just add one thing to the financial aid question. If you've already been admitted and accepted your admission and you did not get the opportunity to indicate that you're interested in financial aid, we can always add that to your application after if you email us at precollege@tufts.edu.
Great, thanks, Ariana. We have a question here regarding submission of an application and responses. I think at this point, you feel free to email or call us, or you could chat one of us personally if you want to discuss your application individually.
I would just say, generally speaking, once your application and all supplemental materials are submitted, which you can check the status on those, like your transcript and your letter of recommendation by logging into your portal. You should expect a 10-day turnaround time for that admission decision. Additionally, if you feel like that's gone on long and you know that all of your materials have been submitted, again, log onto your portal. A letter will be attached to your application and to your profile. So if you haven't seen that through email, maybe that's the case. If that is not there either, please do feel free to reach out to us via email or by phone.
Thank you, Ariana. And we have a couple of questions regarding what is in the kit that's going to be provided. Meredith or McGee, do one of you want to speak to that?
Yeah, we're making a few tweaks this year, but I can tell you the base things that will be in there. So we're using Raspberry Pis, which are, a microprocessor. Some of you may be really familiar with it. It's kind of a great utility tool in terms of diving into this space. We also use the camera module with that. We use Grove sensors, so ultrasonic and line finders. So a bunch of sensors that go with it. And then as a base, right, is Dexter Industries makes a product called the GoPi Go, which kind of gives you a flexible base to work with this and do some basic things with, and then you can always innovate from there. And we're exploring to see, as prices and markets change, if we can squeeze a few more bits and pieces in there this summer as well. So a great suite of tools that are yours, when you register for the program, right, and you complete all the finalization pieces, then we, a few weeks before the class, we ship those out. You can start playing if you want. You can keep them until the first day and we'll walk you through it. And then they're yours to keep. So, folks you can have your project, keep working on it after the class ends. You can also have all the materials to keep doing other projects and kind of explore and keep developing in this space.
Thanks a lot, Meredith. So a couple questions that start coming in the chat. I'm just going to pop over there for a second so we don't miss anything. What kind of engineering will be learning? Is it electrical or mechanical, and how much of each day is spent doing so?
Yeah, so it's a mix, right? The goal of the program is really, right, exposure. So you're not gonna be able to skip out of your freshman year of engineering if you go that path. It's because this summer will be virtual. We're doing a lot in the kind of computational space, right, with figuring out the coding piece as well as kind of that thinking piece behind it and those ideas in AI. There's some obviously design thinking in there, right? Because you're really going to be designing solutions to problems. You're not going to be building huge structures, but really kind of thinking of them from this kind of robotics perspective. And so those kind of blend together, right? Because there's always pieces of code you need to use, ways of interacting with the sensors. You need to learn a bit about the behind the scenes of how those things work. And that kind of piece. So it's really all oriented towards giving you these tools kind of across that robotic space of engineering to be able to think and work with. That's the kind of the learning piece, right? And then across, right, the program, if you saw there, right, we're bringing in folks to talk about the different disciplines so you can really get a sense of, what is mechanical engineering, which is, a huge space in itself. What do chemical engineers do? So bringing in folks to talk about that so folks can kind of see, all the different ways engineering might align with your interests. Are you interested in, you love math and science, but you're interested in animals or, bigger helping to make a change in the world? In what ways are engineers doing that? Do you really like to get down into, the making and the tech? What's the best pathway? What are the pathways to do that? So those are all part of the program as well.
Great, thanks, Meredith. We have a couple of questions around if it's still possible to join and application deadline. So currently our application deadline is this Friday, May 1st. As of right now, there is no extension on that, but if you're interested, please start your application, get it going, and we will keep in contact with you if something changes as of Friday. And if a couple questions on, is it still possible to join? It absolutely is. You can go right to precollege.tufts.edu and you can find the engineering program right on the main page and you can apply right from there. Other question that is coming up is, are the times of the sample schedule flexible? If I have a conflict, can I watch sessions at a different time of the day? Meredith?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no brilliant solution for this. So we want to definitely have synchronous stuff so folks can really talk and communicate, but we understand it doesn't work for absolutely every time zone in place. So, they're definitely recorded. We're hoping, that between the synchronous parts in the morning and the synchronous stuff in the afternoon and the TA hours late at night that you find some time to check in during the day and really dive in. And really that's the most exciting way to do it, right? Is to be able to feel like you're as close to a classroom as we can be right now. But if you have a conflict, that's not an issue. We can work around it, and we'll have some basic communication ways for folks to check in about that, because we still, just like if you were with us, we'll wonder where you are, and we want to know, how can we help, what's going on, and to make sure that you can stay on track throughout the 2 weeks.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thanks so much, Meredith. And I just saw a couple of comments about the link for financial aid and the application, and we can get those to you. We can send them through the chat. Sally can pop those in for you before we get offline. And next question is regarding the platform. What platform will students and instructors use to communicate within this program? Meredith, is that something we have decided as of yet?
Yeah, so we are at this point we're going to use the same platform we use with our undergrad and grad students who are working online. So we use Zoom to do the sessions, to do the synchronous sessions and record those, and we use a learning management system called Canvas. So it's all pretty straightforward. There's no real innovation or issue there. And then everything is posted for folks to see. So after that morning's talk is given, process it, package it up, and put it up for folks to be able to navigate that. We also use some other, we use Python as part of the thing, so that that development environment is something you'll need to install, and we'll send out all the specs for that. And we use Jupyter Notebooks, which are basically an interactive way. You can do a little coding, you can get some instructions, and then you can package up everything you've been working on and send it back, so TAs and folks can help you on that space.
Thanks so much, Meredith. Our next question is coming to us regarding working in groups or solo. Meredith, can you expand on that a little bit and what the plans are?
So group work is, going to be around themes this year, so, folks might be really interested in, particular themes that we're looking at in terms of, using the internet as a tool to get information back, using, doing more of the automation and robotics theme. So they're going to be, organized kind of into subgroups and breakouts for some of the group work, but, obviously you're not actually making something with someone else, but we might see that sharing across things so that we can, you can take on a bigger problem than you might on your own. Like, hey, I'm going to figure out this piece of the problem, and I'm going to figure out this piece, and we're going to share our solutions back and forth, so that folks can do that piece. But in the end, you have your whole own solution with you. So it's a different kind of group work, but we still want folks to have that experience of, thinking about a problem. How do I break it down into parts? How can we kind of split up some of that work? And that'll some folks like to dive in and know everything, and some folks pull in parts of code there. So that's what we're thinking about in terms of group work.
Great. And the next question I see is, how will professors communicate progress or performance with parents?
So this isn't a graded credit program, right? We're really doing this for, to get folks to exposure to these topics, really make it a safe space to learn and explore engineering. Um, we definitely are thinking about, but have not formalized, different ways to share out students' work in terms of, what kind of things they're doing and working on, so folks can see. But we don't have a formal grading process. And of course, I think this online environment, the cool part is going to be that of course everybody can come to the final presentations. So that can be a very public thing, which is actually more challenging when we're physically together, right? Is that you can invite your family and no matter where they are in the world to come see what you've done and made.
Thanks so much, Meredith. Right now, I'm going to jump to a question that we got not specifically towards the engineering design lab, but someone is asking about the differences between the pre-college programs for high schoolers, the intensive versus TCE versus courses for high schoolers. Ariana, could you dig a little bit into that for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, we have a variety of programs that are offered kind of in different aspects to any group of students to fit students' needs and interests. Our intensives, we have 6 of them, and like EDL, they are content based and they dig a little bit deeper into specific areas of interest for students. They're 2 to 3 weeks long, and they are um, they can be either for credit or not for credit, and they're associated with just like EDL, different schools around Tufts with our faculty and professors. Um, in terms of TCE, which is our Tufts College Experience, this was really designed as an opportunity for students to get a feel for Tufts and also get the opportunity to feel the transition from high school to college. Um, it is a 6-week program that students typically take 2 courses. The courses can be undergraduate courses that are also offered through our courses at Tufts for high schoolers, and they're of any interest that you want. You can design your own schedule in order to fit your interest and need. Along with those courses, we also have our College Prep 101, which occurs on Fridays, and it's really giving the opportunity to get to know colleges. We not only offer information about Tufts, but we'll also have virtual tours of other campuses around or Boston area. We also, associated with that, have our pre-college workshops that are one is a essay writing to get you prepared for your college application essay, as well as SAT prep, which has both math and English components. We also offer courses, our Hallmark courses that are specified for pre-college students that focus on some topics and are taught by visiting faculty um, who are well versed in the needs of high school students, but also offer college credit. Um, the course at Tufts for high schoolers is sort of a little bit of a more a la carte version of our Tufts College Experience, and you can choose from over 100 courses that are offered by our Tufts faculty and take them alongside undergraduate and graduate students. You to um, design your own schedule. Obviously, all of the courses for both of these programs are online this summer, as are all of our programs. Um, but in that case, you can also take our College Prep 101 as well as our SAT Prep and um, college essay writing. It will just be for an additional fee.
Thanks so much, Ariana. And again, if there's any further questions on any of them, you can find everything at precollege.tufts.edu, or you can email us or call us with specific questions. I have a couple more engineering design lab questions that came in while we were talking. So this goes a little bit further on the groups conversation, Meredith. Will there be groups with more advanced work? Are some students going to have some experience or not? I think we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but if you or McGee want to elaborate a little bit, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it varies each time we run this in terms of who participates, but we're always trying to accommodate, all the groups in terms of we have, definitely really strong introductory content that takes people from zero because we want people to have that entryway into engineering. But of course, we teach undergraduate engineers, so there's lots of places to go with that, and we try and there are some things that are kind of joined together, right, in terms of making sure everybody has the basics and can work through that. But we look for opportunities. There's extensions for some of the daily activities, and then the final project, there's a lot of space to really explore and get some great, go in some new directions that, that our folks who have experience can really take on.
Great. And a little bit more on that. Someone just asked how you envision, and this might not be something you've completely figured out yet, but how the group collaboration will work in the virtual setting. Do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways, that we use the tech to do that, and that we've used it when we've been doing courses here, right? So of course, for synchronous stuff, there's breakout rooms where you can imagine a TA and a few folks chatting about a topic. You could also imagine a more asynchronous thing that you have some group space on Blackboard, on Canvas, right? Our learning management system, where you might be trading some pieces of code back and forth to see if you can do some more complex tasks for that to work. A few of those things, we're tweaking and revising the projects for the summer. So that's why it sounds a little undefined there. But that's how it's been working in the existing work we've been doing.
Great, thanks so much. I'm sorry, there was another part to that question too. How much of the EDL program is hands-on making and creating versus lecture-based?
Yeah, so we try. So I haven't timed the minutes. You can, if you see the schedule on the website, right? You see the talks there. So those are definitely, they're not hands-on, but they're they aim to if you think about that time, that about 50% of the time a speaker is booked is for them to talk, and the other 50% is for you to interact and ask questions and really get a sense of what's going on. Everything from like how did they get there, what was their pathway to this cool job they have, to asking more about the discipline. The challenges are all hands-on, right? So the make along, right, you're going to get some pieces where you're learning things, but we're trying to flip that as quickly as possible to you trying it out. So here's a concept we're learning. We want to give you enough of the fundamentals that you can do it, and then get you to try it out right away. And the Jupyter notebooks also let folks do that in different ways, right? So you can kind of some of the instruction is embedded in there, so you can kind of cruise along at your own pace and be like, oh yeah, I took a programming course, so I'm just figuring out how to transfer some of that to here and learn about this and kind of with this new hardware and maybe different software. So so lots of flexibility there.
Great, thanks so much. And let us know. I know you posted some follow-up questions. I think Meredith answered all of those, but let us know if there's anything else you still want to know. Is there anything else at this time? If you guys want to pop any other questions in, let me know. I still have a couple of questions here. Let's see, anything. We have another question that just popped in regarding what types of social events that you are thinking about and how you'll be working with those. Sally, is that something you can answer for us?
Yeah, so like we said earlier before, the social events is still something that we are working on, but we do have several events currently in mind for our students, such as, morning meetups. So before programs start, just, allowing, groups of our students to get their day started with one another. We also do have some events planned for after the program is done for the day, such as trivia nights. We also have, I think it's more program specific, but I do know programs are also planning various lunch and learns and networking sessions during their lunches. And we also will have some sort of game night and some sort of wellness check-in session for students as well. So there are a lot of events that we are still really, deep in planning mode for those, but those are just some of the things that we are hoping to have for our students this summer as a part of their social events and activities.
Great, thanks so much, Sally.
I would just add one thing to that typically just in terms of platform, we will be using Zoom for those social events, and students will also have the opportunity to interact and connect not only with the students in their program, but across our pre-college programs.
Thanks so much, team. The one last question I'm seeing right now, the program is for 10th graders, so rising sophomores, but will you accept anyone that may be entering 9th grade for this?
The short answer is no. Unfortunately. Yeah.
So the last question that we have right now, if quarantine guidelines change, do you think there will be an option to meet in person? At this point, I think that is not something that would be able to happen with the planning for these courses, but Ariana, I don't know, or Meredith, I don't know if you want to speak to that at all more.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, because all of our programs have transitioned to a virtual format, we won't have any in-person meetups during the summer. However, we do want to stay engaged with students that participate in our programs, not only this year, but next year and into the future. So we will be thinking about ways in which we can engage the community and hopefully meet up in person at some time.
And I think a follow-up to that question was just even for social stuff. And so I think that's what Ariana was saying. I think in the future, if there's some way for the groups to meet up, that's definitely something we would love to plan, but it most likely will not. It definitely will not happen during the timing of the sessions as they are now. Is there anyone else? I don't see any other questions right now in my chat or QA. The rest, someone did ask about more information on the financial aid, and that info was posted into the chat box. So hopefully you were able to receive that. But if there's any other questions, you can always email us. I think that's it for now. I don't see any others. So please feel free to reach out if any other questions come up, and I'll turn it back over to Ariana.
Yeah, so I guess just thanks again for joining us today. These questions have been very helpful. I hope to you and to the rest of the community. We are excited for all the interest in the Engineering Design Lab, as well as our pre-college programs in general. As Tara mentioned, you can always call or email us with any further questions, and we hope to see you on our virtual campus this summer. Thanks, and have a great day.